How's it going, everyone? It's Nick again, back with another video, and today I'm about to talk about the first round matchups of this year's NBA playoffs. Now, I know some of the games already happened, and I wanted to do this last night in my time zone in Japan, but unfortunately, I got tired as I was recording, and I was recording pretty late, and I had to get up early in the morning, but I don't want to get too into detail, so for now, I'm just going to give you my thoughts on what did happen and what's about to happen next. Let's get into it. I'll start with the Clippers and Mavericks, and I have the Clippers in 5, and I said that from the very beginning. This was actually only the 12th time all season that the Clippers have had their full squad, and the Clippers are 11-1 with their full squad. That one loss came to my Lakers. That doesn't mean I'll get ahead of myself and think, the Lakers got this, but we'll talk about that later. Now, yes, that Porzingis ejection looked very questionable, and I thought it was BS when I first looked at it, but Steve Javie, the head of officials, said that they got it right, and, well, I don't think showing emotion, especially in a playoff game, is such a bad thing, and I don't really see how he did escalate the situation, but I guess Coach Nick at B-Ball Breakdown and Rob Nunn, the former head of officials, will tell me why I'm wrong. I always felt that Luka has the poise to be a great playoff performer, and he did prove that in his playoff debut, dropping 42 points, which is an NBA record for most points in a playoff debut, previously held by, wanna guess who? Michael Jordan? Nope. Was it Elgin Baylor? Nope. Kareem? Nope. Larry Bird? Nope. Was it Shaq? Nope. Hakeem Olajuwon? Nope. Any more guesses? George Mikan previously held the record with 37 points. If you want to include the ABA as well, John Williamson scored 38 points in his playoff debut. Future video in the making? Give me 50 likes and I'll work on it. So in Game 1, again, the Mavs did display some offensive firepower even outside of Luka, with Tim Hardaway dropping 18 points, Seth Curry giving them 14 off the bench, but the Clippers had 5 guys in double figures, with Kawhi and PG scoring 29 and 27 respectively on really good efficiency. And 6th Man of the Year candidate Montrezl Harrell gave him 6 points in 15 minutes in his first game in the bubble, and we should expect his minutes to increase later as well as his production. So, about why I predicted the Clippers in 5 from the beginning. Despite the Mavericks having the best offensive rating in league history, I did touch up on this in my previous video. The Mavs are not a good defensive team, and on top of that, they're inexperienced. On the other hand, the Clippers have 2-time Finals MVP Kawhi Leonard. Their second star Paul George is a seasoned vet, so are Lou Williams, Patrick Beverley, Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris. Even Montrezl Harrell and Ivica Zubac have some playoff experience under their belt. The Clippers are also an excellent defensive team. As a Lakers fan, I'd love to see the Mavericks pull off an upset, but realistically, I don't see it happening. On to the Raptors and Nets. Yeah, the Nets actually did pull off wins against the Bucks and the Clippers in the bubble. Well, Paul George didn't play in the Nets-Clippers game, and Giannis and Middleton only played 16 minutes each when the Nets played the Bucks. But for real, they did go 5-3 in the bubble and in the regular season games, and even gave the Blazers a run for their money. Still, Raptors in 5. The Nets are missing too many key players at the moment. Still no Kevin Durant, no Kyrie Irving, no Spencer Dinwiddie. Okay, Joe Harris has played well in the bubble. Jarrett Allen's a double-double machine. Funny story. I have a cousin named Jarrett Allen. Timothy Luwawu Cabaret. I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but whatever. He played well in Game 1, but still. They're no match for last year's defending champions even without Kawhi Leonard, because the Raptors just have such a well-balanced attack on offense, and they're the second best defense in the NBA this year. The Nuggets and the Jazz. Well, Mike Conley just left the bubble to be with his wife for the birth of his son. Yeah, that puts the Jazz at a disadvantage. We know what Nikola Jokic can do. I plan to talk about Michael Porter Jr. putting up 22 points per game in the bubble on very high efficiency, shooting 55% from the field and a true shooting percentage of almost 70%, as he's taking more threes. Well, okay, I did talk about that, but he wasn't really all that in Game 1. But there's also Jamal Murray on the Nuggets, and he came up big with 36 points. Donovan Mitchell had a historic game, putting up 57 points. The only players to score more points in a playoff game are Michael Jordan and Elgin Baylor. However, not good enough for the Jazz to win the game, as the Nuggets had a more well-balanced attack led by Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic. My guy Jordan Clarkson gave the Jazz 18 points off the bench though, looking much better than his first time in the playoffs 2 years ago, which wasn't good at all. I think this will be an interesting series, but in the end, I have to go with the Nuggets in 6. I just think that they're a deeper team, and Nikola Jokic is the best player in this series. If Donovan Mitchell can keep up what he did in Game 1, though, I mean, he probably won't put up 57 again, but as long as he keeps playing really well, though, I think the Jazz can at least make it a series. Celtics and Sixers now. Fun fact, these two teams have faced off in the playoffs more than any other two teams in NBA history. I got the Celtics in 6 in this series. Or maybe I might go with 5, honestly. And while the Celtics are just a center away from really competing with the Bucks, so yeah, Joel Embiid should be having his way in this series, and he certainly did in Game 1. Still, I mean, the Celtics are a better built team, they're much better coached, and on top of that, no Ben Simmons for the Sixers, so it's not going to be very easy for the Sixers to win this series. I'm definitely going to go with the Celtics here. Jason Tatum went off in Game 1, and I expect him to continue to play like this, because not only is he a stud, like, who on the Sixers is actually going to guard him? Now on to the teams who have yet to actually play so far. I'm going to start with my guys, the Los Angeles Lakers, in their matchup against the Portland Trail Blazers. This is the 11th time in NBA history that these two teams have faced off in the playoffs. Last time was during the Shaq and Kobe era for the Lakers and the Jailblazers era for the Blazers. It's been a long time. And Steve Kerr was actually on that Blazers team with Scottie Pippen, Rasheed Wallace, Bonzi Wells, Damon Stoudemire, the so-called Kobe stopper, and Ruben Patterson. It's a long time ago. Takes me back to my early days as an NBA fan, which we will talk about in a future video. Damian Lillard has been absolutely unguardable in the bubble, and he's been one of the most lethal scorers in the NBA for the last 5 seasons now, and even before that, like since he came into the league, he's been a very good one at the very least. Having Yusuf Nurkic back has also been a huge plus for the Blazers in the bubble. Double D Worth did a video on this matchup not too long ago. I thought it was well done. Go check it out for yourself if you like. Coach Nick at B-Ball Breakdown also pointed out how the Blazers will likely attack the Lakers bigs in pick and roll situations. Yeah, the Lakers haven't defended the Lillard pick and roll well at all during the regular season. Other things that were pointed out in those videos are that the Blazers are no longer totally outsized like they were in the regular season. And also, they found a big spark off the bench in Gary Trent Jr. So yeah, I'm not going to lie, that is kind of scary. I also do really like Melo, so I am glad to see him prove people wrong about him no longer belonging in the NBA. He still belongs, but sorry, I can't root for him in this series because he's playing against my team. I still think the Lakers win in 6 because the Blazers are a terrible defensive team, ranked 27th in the NBA as a whole, and I think second worst in the bubble. Yeah, the Blazers' firepower on offense will be tough to guard for the Lakers, even with one of the top defenses in the NBA, and they sure will miss Avery Bradley. Danny Green, KCP, Alex Caruso, those guys are very good defenders, but guarding Lillard and McCollum and now Gary Trent Jr., that's going to be tough. Oh, and CJ McCollum is apparently playing with a broken back, and until the last 2 games of the regular season, he hasn't shown any signs of being hurt. I mean, playing with a broken back? That's crazy. Hopefully, I mean, I don't dislike Damian Lillard, but just because he's going against my team, hopefully 2015 or 18 playoff Damian Lillard comes back. I mean, that'd be nice for my Lakers, but speaking of their defense, Karis LeVert tore them apart. If Karis LeVert did all that to the Blazers, imagine what LeBron's going to do. Also, although the Blazers aren't totally outsized anymore, and Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee may have some trouble in this series, and we'll have to rely on Kyle Kuzma quite a lot. I mean, at least he played well against Denver, but I really would like some more consistency out of him. But with all that said, I still think the Lakers win this in 6 games because they're at least a better defensive team. I mean, I know the Blazers are going to be tough, but at least the Lakers aren't a terrible defensive team. And while, yes, this is a more favorable matchup for LeBron than it is for Anthony Davis, considering the Blazers bigs can't run the floor or stretch the floor like Anthony Davis can, I think AD will be just fine. In fact, we know that LeBron and Anthony Davis will be ready to play, and they will perform. So for the Bucks Magic series, do I really even need to get into that? Of course the Magic are getting swept. They stand zero chance against the Milwaukee Bucks. Come on. Why do I even have to get into that? Now it's time to talk about the Heat and the Pacers. This one I think will go the full 7. As we all know, TJ Warren, he was good before the bubble, but he just went Goliath mode after entering the bubble. And, well, other than against the Suns and the Heat, Victor Oladipo hasn't been so consistent, though. Miles Turner is at least inactive for Game 1 as far as I know. I'm not sure about the rest of the series, but that'll also hurt the Pacers, and they're without Domantas Sabonis. Jeremy Lamb's also out for the year. The Pacers look doomed, right? They kind of are. But, oh, wait. Malcolm Brogdon has actually played really well in the bubble, scoring 18 points per game, along with 6 assists and 6 rebounds per game, shooting 43.5% from the field, which is alright, but more importantly, his true shooting percentage is 57%. That is very good. But still, I still think this is the Heat series to lose. The Heat are pretty banged up too, though. But as long as their guys are ready to go for this series, which to me, it sounds like they will be, and they'll have plenty of guys they can throw at TJ Warren. The Pacers are still a threat. Even though they have some guys banged up, I still think that they can compete, but at the end of the day, Heat in 7. Rockets Thunder now. This is interesting, since they traded Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook for each other in the offseason. Now, I think it's going to come down to Russell Westbrook's health in the playoffs, because he's already out for Game 1, and if he misses another game or 2, it's Thunder's series to lose. If Russell Westbrook can play, then the Rockets have a good chance. And also, James Harden, while he's not a terrible playoff performer, we know he has a reputation of falling short in big moments. And the Rockets better hope that James Harden is there when they need him the most. Overall, if Russell Westbrook is healthy, I think that the Rockets win this series, but if not, I'm going to go with OKC. Russell Westbrook has played really well since they traded Clint Capella. Clint Capella, even though the box score makes him look decent, he was really a minus on offense because just staying near the basket, waiting for the rebound, and all he did was clog the lane for Westbrook and Harden when they were driving to the basket. And Russell Westbrook has played a lot better since the Clint Capella trade. And their perimeter defense has gotten better with Robert Covington. It's weird seeing what the Rockets are doing right now, but it's worked for the best of them. I still don't see them making it past the second round, but I do think that they could win this series, but only if Russell Westbrook is healthy. That's the end of this video. I went all out on this. I spent hours making this. So please, I would really appreciate it if you can return the favor and like and subscribe this video, as I'm going to catch some sleep now because I'm exhausted.